Marie Curie, a wise physicist, broke a gender barrier by discovering elements like radium and polonium. Marie is very well known in the science industry. Curie is known as the mother of modern physics. She was a physicist and a chemist during her study of radioactivity. Curie also helped with the discovery of X-rays, as she was working on the discovery of radioactivity. Marie Curie was very experienced as a scientist during her life. She impacted the creation of X-rays being used during surgery. Curie was born on November 7, 1867, in Warsaw, Poland. Marie was born as Marie Salome Sklodowska. Marie Curie was assigned a research project which put her in touch with Pierre Curie. Eventually, Marie Sklodowska and Pierre Curie fell deeply in love and got married in the summer of 1895. Soon after the two were married, the Curies decided to become scientific research partners. Together, they discovered elements and many more science-related items. Marie and Pierre Curie were eventually awarded plenty of awards based on their scientific research. A few years after they were awarded a Nobel Prize in 1906, Pierre Curie had tragically passed away. He just so happened to have been in the street right as a horse-drawn wagon came that ran him over. This tragic event inspired Marie Curie to keep her dream of becoming a well-known female scientist around the world. Marie Curie never quit, even when times were difficult. Before Marie Curie, no woman had ever discovered an element. Women in the science field were almost non-existent, and Marie Curie entering the science field was something almost no one would have thought about. She worked alongside her husband, Pierre Curie, in the labs. As Curie worked to discover anything she could, she spoke very inspirational words towards little girls striving to become scientists. "I am among those who think science has great beauty," Marie Curie once said. Marie Curie breaking the gender barrier changed the women in science. Marie Curie entering the science field changed the way women were thought of, and now women in the science field is almost just as common as men. Professor Kalili from St. Louis University said in an interview. Marie Curie went to Paris so she could study to become important in science. In Paris, she mainly studied and worked at Sorbonne University. The barrier wasn't as high as it was before Marie Curie. Her breaking the barrier didn't just change how women in the science field were thought of, it also discovered a change in medicine. The Curies published evidence of these elements that were previously discovered by Marie. They created this so more young people and scientists at the time could look up to it and try to discover more elements to expand the science industry. Marie Curie discovering elements such as radium and polonium changed the science industry forever. She figured out that discovering these elements would change her life for the better. When these were discovered by Marie, she thought long and hard about what she had done. To name these elements, she tried to relate to her home life. She named polonium after her home country, Poland, as well as naming radium after the Latin word ray, meaning a beam of light. Because of Marie's discoveries and science work, all of her belongings will be radioactive for about 1,500 years. At Wellcome Library in London, you can view her radioactive notebooks and gear, although you have to wear protective gear and goggles. Marie thought heavily about how women do not get the recognition they deserve for working so hard. She thought that it was time to change that. However, Marie Curie struggled with recognition in the French science community. For example, Marie Curie was never elected into the French Academy of Sciences because she was a woman. When Marie Curie collected her second Nobel Prize, the press was mostly silent and her recognition for her work was limited. In science, we must be interested in things, not in persons, Marie Curie once said. Pierre had to insist that Marie Curie's name be added to their research since women were not entitled to much at the time. Marie and Pierre Curie were invited to speak at the Royal Institution in London to present her work. Marie was not allowed to speak during the talk, and Pierre had to give the speech. Marie Curie had worked extensively with radium throughout her lifetime, finding its parts that were hidden and finding its parts that were showing. Marie Curie had isolated different substances by successive chemical reactions and crystallizations of the products. She devised a way to measure more precisely the electrical changes that were being produced by uranium. Curie found that Becquerel rays were coming directly from the atoms. Marie's discoveries later paved the way for radiation therapy. She coated one of two of the metal plates with a thin layer of uranium salts that were used for picking out the elements and separating them. Marie Curie created the word radioactivity to describe phenomena. She also found a way to continue her education by going to Flying University, an institution that was admitting women students. Becoming a teacher was the only way Marie Curie thought she could become an independent woman that does not have to rely on males. However, that was not a possibility because at the time, the lack of money prevented her from a higher education. In November of 1903, Marie Curie was awarded half of the Nobel Prize in Physics for her work in the science industry. In 1911, she was awarded her second Nobel Prize, but this time it was in chemistry. By winning these awards, she was awarded another prize because of being the first woman to win part of two Nobel Prizes in science. In honor of Marie Curie's prize in 1911, they celebrated it by calling 2011 the International Year of Chemistry. Marie Curie received, with her husband, the Davy Medal of the Royal Society in 1903, and in 1921 she received it by herself. Marie received the John Scott Legacy Medal and Premium in 1921 as well. She received many honorary science, medicine, and law degrees and honorary memberships of societies throughout the world at the time. President Harding of the United States, on behalf of the women in America, presented Marie Curie with a gram of radium in recognition of her service in science. In June of 1903, Marie Curie was the first woman to defend her doctoral thesis in France.